Sometimes it takes a breakdown to realize what really matters in life. I never used to believe that thought. It was just something people said to feel better about tough times. But if you've been in Copper Creek that summer, you might have started to wonder if there wasn't some kind of plan behind the chaos. Anyway, let me tell you what happened, and you tell me afterward if you see what I mean. So, Copper Creek's a town where your business isn't really your own. That could be both a blessing and a curse, depending on the day. My friend Jack Morrison's the kind of guy who'd rather give you his last dollar than let you go hungrier in the old Morrison and Son Auto Repair out on Main. The sign had seen better days, the paint was fading, but to everyone in town, it still meant hope. If your car wouldn't start, if you hit a coyote at midnight, or if you just needed a chat, Jack's shop was where you went. No appointments, no fancy diagnostics, just a handshake and his word. But Jack's kindness came at cost. 3 months behind on his lease, juggling IOUs, and barter sometimes misses. Henderson would pay him in pies. Sometimes old Tom would drop off homebrew. Jack didn't care. He said a real mechanic's job was to keep the town moving, not just to make money. Problem is, the world doesn't run on good intentions, especially when the bank starts sending those cold, formal envelopes with big red stamps. On a day so hot you could fry an egg on the hood of a Chevy, everything changed. This motorcycle Dusty, purring, clearly in trouble, pulled up outside. The rider, head to toe, in leather, looked like every cliché of a road-weary traveler until she took off the helmet. There was this pause, like the universe hit rewind. Her name was Alex, and she had a presence that was both powerful and oddly gentle, like someone used to giving orders but tired of being obeyed. Jack greeted her the way he greeted everyone offering help before asking for payment. "Looks like a fuel problem," he said, wiping his hands. Alex just smiled, told him she'd been pushing her luck since Tucson. He let her hang around while he worked, and what started as small talk about motorcycles drifted into the kind of conversation you only have with someone who isn't planning to stick around. Now, the thing is, Jack didn't know who Alex really was. None of us did. She asked about the town, about the folks, about why he kept the place running when everyone else was selling out to the chains. She knew more about business than she let on, but she didn't show it first. Just listened, watched, asked those careful questions that make you think about things you'd rather ignore. They spent the afternoon together, first at the garage, then at Sarah's diner, where half the town ends up eventually. Sarah, who'd run that place since forever, brought them pie and coffee, acting like Jack had just brought home a long-lost cousin. Pretty soon, folks started gathering around, telling stories, sharing the little things Jack had done for them. You could see Alex absorbing all of it, really seeing the web of connections holding Copper Creek together. The days rolled on, and Alex stuck around. She helped fix up an old miner's cabin up by Carson's Ridge, worked side by side with Jack, surprising everyone with her skill and her willingness to get dirty. She even joined the town's music night, sitting in the crowd as Jack played his father's old guitar under string lights, laughing at his jokes, blending in as if she'd always belonged. But nothing good in a story ever stays simple. You see, Jack's troubles with the bank got worse. Ryan, the local banker, showed up with bad news. The bank was selling the garage out from under him. And right when he thought he couldn't feel more lost, the truth about Alex came crashing in. Turns out, Alexander Sterling wasn't just passing through. She was the CEO of Sterling Technologies, one of those names you hear on the news but never expect to meet in a dusty town like ours. Her photo was all over the morning paper, headlines screaming about a billionaire hiding out in the desert. People started whispering, wondering if everything she'd done was just a PR stunt. Jack, for his part, felt betrayed. Not because Alex had money or power, but because he thought what they'd share, the laughter, the hard work, the long drives through the desert, might be just been an act. He confronted her in the garage, the two of them framed by dust and sunlight, voices low and raw. She tried to explain that the person she'd been with him was real, that the corporate world had never felt as honest as fixing things with her own hands. But trust, once cracked, takes more than words to fix. Alex left a note for Jack before heading back to Phoenix, a key to her bike, a promise that she wasn't just running away. "Some things you can't buy with money," she wrote, "and this garage is one of them." The whole town buzzed with rumors. Reporters called nonstop, and the garage felt emptier than ever, even with the motorcycle gleaming in the corner. But Jack wasn't done fighting. With a little nudge from Sarah and old Tom and a letter from Alex suggesting a way forward, swallowed his pride and picked up the phone. What if, Alex proposed, there was a way for her world and his to work together? A pilot program. Sterling Tech would partner with family-run garages, providing tools and training, letting them keep what made them special, while learning from their decades of real-world experience. Jack agreed, but only on the condition that his garage stayed true to its roots. The sign outside would keep its name, the old photos would stay on the wall, payment plans and kindness wouldn't be replaced by algorithms. The pilot program launched, and Copper Creek became the beating heart of something Nawa way to protect the past without being afraid of the future. Alex started splitting her time between boardrooms and the desert, blending high heels and grease-stained jeans. The garage got a facelift and diagnostic bays, modern waiting room, but the same old spirit. Mrs. Henderson's Buick was still top priority. Reeson apprenticed alongside Jack, and even Sarah started trusting the new coffee machine. Well, sometimes. The board at Sterling Tech was skeptical at first, but when the numbers and the story started rolling in, even the biggest skeptics had to admit they were onto something. News outlets started calling Copper Creek the garage that bridged two worlds. For Jack and Alex, though, it was simpler than that. It was about finding a way to be themselves, to honor where they'd come from without being trapped by it. And so, with the desert sun rising over a shop that now read Morrison and Sterling Automotive, Jack and Alex built a future neither of them could have planned, a future that honored every dusty handshake, every late-night repair, every small act of kindness that made Copper Creek home. You know, I think they both learned that real wealth isn't measured in dollars or cents, but in the lives you touch and the promises you keep. And maybe, just maybe, it takes a little breakdown to figure out what you're really made of. But hey, that's just one story. What do you think? Is progress about holding on or letting go, or maybe finding the courage to do a little of both? I'd love to hear your taquito. You think Jack did the right thing trusting Alex again? Can a small town really teach a billionaire something new? Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk about what community, loyalty, and second chances mean to you.